Good morning, world. It's pretty early in the morning. I have a letter that I would like to read to all of you. Now, it's a letter that I intend, I'm going to mail it to the district attorney's office. And I just thought all of you might enjoy hearing me read it. And of course, I'm going to redact certain names inside this letter because it's not y'all's business who certain parties mentioned in this letter are. And that's the truth. But on the cover of the letter and the address, I put uh, to the fucktards of the district's attorney's office, enjoy. And then I gave their address. On the back of the letter, I wrote, I'm betting that not one of you fucktards even attempts to make the wrongs perpetrated against me right. Please prove me wrong. And no time in this letter did I threaten any of you fucktards. So go fuck yourselves with a big heart and a smiley face inside of it. All right, now we get on to the letter. December 16th, 2014. Hello, prosecuting district attorneys that represent witnesses from criminal court matters in civil court matters in order to railroad defendants as they defend themselves in criminal court by punishing them in civil court. How are you doing today? Let us clear the air once and for all. I personally think you are all abusive, power hungry miscreants who use a system in order to manipulate and control the people of this world, not allowing enough time for a respondent to answer a citation of notice is a crock of shit, and you all know it. Working deals with the sheriff's department to move defendants into smaller and smaller cells as the months progress, as they are incarcerated or awaiting their days in court, and quite possibly instructing the same sheriff's department to not allow a defendant to show up in court for a civil matter such as a protective order is downright fucked up. Taking a witness who has a stroke the day she was forced to give her statement to your criminal court division and then forcing her to relive that day in an affidavit for civil court, and then taking that statement and changing up said statement in this way and that way before typing it up and forcing her to sign it is a tad bit fucked up as well. Not allowing an applicant to divorce herself from you as her civil court attorneys and representing herself in court pro se is pretty fucked up as well. And then to stand there in court making accusations to and about me, the respondent, that I am in some way controlling and or manipulating the applicant when it is she who brought a motion to vacate to the court in the first place is beyond fucked up. She just had a hysterectomy due to her battle with endometriosis and is suffering through the recovery, you fucks. You are all some world class fucktards. I know I'm not looking at the camera, and I apologize. I'm trying to read this. Let me start that last one over. It's important. I'm gonna look at the camera. You are all some world class fucktards. The way in which you treat people and the way in which you railroad people in a civil venue is absolutely unconscionable. You should all be ashamed of yourselves, and letting this sort of abuse of our court systems continue is absolutely appalling on your end. Yet, you are all power hungry, abusive, controlling, and manipulative fucktards and enjoy the pain and woe you perpetrate upon people. I can't see me, can you? There we go. She suffers from anxiety. She takes Xanax 3 times a day and medicates herself as well to help her deal with this issue. She also occasionally imbibes in alcohol. So at any given time, she has many substances in her system. She was severely abused by doctors and nurses in a small town in Missouri, and she was in her when she was in her preteens, and subsequently mentally suffers each and every time she has to see a doctor, much less a doctor doing anything invasive, such as even a minor, in our thoughts, blood sample. She also worked in an attorney's office from high school until she was pregnant with her daughter. And she knows personally what fucktards you piece of shit attorneys can be. She suffered for years from an abusive, controlling, manipulative first husband who was the reason she began the regimen of Xanax in the first place. After court on the 15th of December 2014, she cried for hours the way in which the fucktard Judge Hennigan and you fucktard district attorney's representative treated her in court. I'm going to try to make this just about as quick as I can, guys. See, we're already at 5 minutes. She and myself allowed her high school best friend to move in with us. Her high school best friend was supposed to be a recovering methamphetamine addict. And soon I found out that the recovering part was not actually accurate. I had broke off my relationship with her shortly before her friend had moved in. Yet I still lived with her in a home we both were buying. She was upset because of the breakup, and subsequently so was her friend, her best friend in the world. Her best friend had a huge problem with me because of the breakup, and a deep hate ensued for me. She and I bought our home together, and I chose to continue to live in the home after the breakup. During the weeks that led up to the events of June 13, 2013, her best friend had one of her methamphetamine using friends text me periodically with threatening words and trying to make me believe that the texts were coming from some new friends I had acquired. That also just happened to be black. And her best friend, in my opinion, is racist as far as I know. Also during this time, both her best friend and her were taking my liquor bottle and pouring some of it out periodically to make me think I was drinking far more than I actually was, as well as adding water to it sometimes in order to water it down. And all of this behind my back, so to speak, and without my consent or knowledge. Also, on 2 separate occasions, as I slept on the couch in the living room, either her best friend or her was poking me on top of my head with something. I woke up from such a poking late one night to see one of them as I was blurry-eyed walking down the hall. And when I asked what and why with a what the fuck in a groggy state, whichever one it was said that they were sorry and that they must have accidentally touched my head as they passed by me. I subsequently contracted MRSA, or staph. That was not diagnosed or even attempted to be diagnosed by those fucktards from John Peter Smith who treated, or more appropriately mistreated, the incarcerated in Tarrant County Jail. And just so happens that shortly after my incarceration and charges, her best friend was treated at JPS for MRSA staph. I had to find out I had MRSA after my release, and I went to Weatherford's Campbell Memorial Hospital. I had the boils starting before I went to jail that night on the 13th of June, and photos of them should be archived by those piece of shit white settlement tax collecting corporate protect and serve each other and dictate and abuse the people fucktards. The 13th of June 2013. That morning I went to purchase a rifle from a pawn shop in Weatherford with my father. I texted her about this, and she subsequently, within an hour, texted me back in order for me to pick her up from work. Backstory. Her ex-husband used to overspend on hunting equipment, to the point it almost bankrupted them on a few occasions. I picked her up from her place of work, and she told me that she wasn't feeling well, and to get out of working that day. We stopped at an Aldi to buy some groceries for the home on the way to our home. Sometime in the later part of the afternoon, I figured out that the texter I talked about previously was not the black friend I had made. In fact, it was someone from Euless. both her and her friend's hometown. I found this out by Googling the number and finding a Craigslist ad. I am not a dumbass or like you all a fucktard. After that, her friend showed up at the house, and I asked her if she knew anyone in Euless that would have been the one texting me and threatening me. Her or her friend and the woman that I lived with. I was getting texts that were threatening. They were threatening both the girls and myself. That's just a little excerpt. Her friend got, what shall I say, weird after I asked that question and left the house. I asked the woman I lived with to contact her father, a private investigator and ex-investigator for the Euless Police Department, and run the phone number to find out exactly who this texter was. I also contacted a friend I had and had him use a pay service on the internet to do the same thing, just in case the woman I live with was a part of what I believed her best friend was a part of. That evening, I asked the woman I lived with if I could see the text between herself and her best friend so that I could rule the woman I live with out as a suspect as to if she knew about the texter threatener. The woman I live with agreed and even unlocked the phone so that I could look at the last couple of texts between her best friend and herself. I knew about the liquor bottle and a few other things that were happening around the house in order to make me paranoid. My assumptions or assertion of the events transgressed and perpetrated against me. So when the woman I lived with handed me the unlocked phone, as I sat next to her on the living room couch, I proceeded to scroll through the text between the woman I live with and her best friend. That is when the woman I live with tried to grab the phone back away from me. As I said in court, I bought that fucking phone. I put that fucking phone on my personal fucking account, so it was my fucking phone. The colorful expletives were, these are open quotes, or open parentheses. I'm sorry, I forgot to say all that right here. The colorful expletives were for you fucktards in the district attorney's office personally, and that fucking judge if he reads this. And I was not making fucking excuses. I was simply stating fucking facts, you fucking fucktards, while I was in court. I love just calling people. I love calling bullshit when I see bullshit. And yeah, they're fucktards. They're absolute fucktards. Well, let's get back to it. Matter of fact, the next words are back to it. I stood up and attempted to get away from the woman I lived with. She stopped me by pulling back my shorts and pouring an alcoholic drink down my ass. The first fucking assault, open parentheses, the first fucking assault perpetrated by her, close parentheses. I then pushed her back onto the couch, open parentheses, my attempt to defend myself, close parentheses, and attempted to get away from her by going into the kitchen. She then reached across the bar top, dividing the living room into the kitchen in an attempt to grab my personal cell phone that was charging on top of our microwave. She then followed after me into the kitchen, open parentheses, not fucking afraid of me at all, you fucks, close parentheses, and got right in my face, reaching around me and trying to grab the cell phone I took from her. She was literally in my face, pushing me backwards with her aggressive actions. That is when I pushed her backwards up against the counter, open parentheses, a fucking defensive action, you fucktards, close parentheses. I threatened her so that she would stop assaulting me, and then I turned around and headed out of the house. The woman I live with followed me out into the street, open parentheses. She was so fucking scared of me, question mark, you fucktards, exclamation point, close parentheses, and proceeded to continue to aggressively try and get the phone from me. I knew no matter where I went, she would continue. And I also knew that if she got the phone back, that she would delete those incriminating texts I saw while on the couch sitting pleasantly next to her. Not about the texter, but about a slew of other things and the way in which her and her best friend were purposely enjoying the way in which they were trying to make me paranoid. So I threw the phone face down onto the ground in order to freeze it in time, so to speak. I did not know at that time that I could have gone to Metro PCS and just paid to have copies of all the text on that phone delivered to me. She then called the police and had me arrested. 3 hours later, either her or her best friend got onto my computer and deleted some files. Also, one of them accessed my personal email account and changed my password. One of them also took my cell phone that I hid from those fucktard tax collecting white settlement police and deleted phone numbers, the text from the texting threatener, and she took over my personal cell phone for herself. There you go, you fucktards. Fucktards is all capitalized with multiple exclamation points after it. And then, of course, a lot of these are all capitalized, but I'm just going to read them to you. The fucking truth, the whole fucking truth, and nothing but the fucking truth. Ask her for your fucking selves. Let's see if she tells the fucking truth to you fucktards this time. But I warn you now, be gentle with her. She suffers dramatically from anxiety and having to deal with fucktards such as yourself. Treat her with respect and understanding of her mental illness. Now go fuck yourselves. I do not give a flying fuck what any of you fucking pieces of shit think about me. I hold honesty, honor, and integrity above fucking reproach. Unlike you fucktards. So go and fuck yourselves. Along with this letter, I will, at a place and time of my choosing, allow you fucktards to hear an audio recording of her and myself made the late hours of the night before court on the 15th of December, in which she tells all. You figure it out and then go fuck yourselves. I just love saying go fuck yourselves, especially to district attorneys who are abusive and they just treat the system and treat the people, it just fucking irritates the fuck out of me. Of course, I signed it sincerely, Flipside, my name, Flipside, put my email address, and then underneath that I said on YouTube, and in the search bar, type the palindrome Astron Norza to get no one or nothing but me. I have a daily vlog on YouTube that I encourage all you fucktards to check it out, especially the one I posted right after court on the 15th of December about Judge Hennigan. Fuck. Let him have a go at this letter and encourage him to watch that vlog as well. Then tell him for me, please, with all my heart, to go and fuck himself as well. You all fucking disgust me. You are all fucktard controlling manipulative fucks. Carpe diem. Have a great day. And then I put a little smiley face. All right, guys. Well, that's the letter. I just wanted to read it out to you. I just wanted there to be proof of it. I'm going to mail it off to the district attorney's office over in the family court the civil court division. Yeah. Is that not fucked up that we appoint, the people elect an official, let's say a district attorney. And then that district attorney has an office in a civil court. And they represent witnesses from criminal court and civil court to, I guess, inflict the punishments that they are not going to be able to inflict on the defendants in a criminal case. That would be my guess, And when they give you a citation of notice of hearing, they make up the fucking rules. There's no length of time. They can literally file an application and make an order right then and there. Is that not fucked up? All based on one person's side of the story. So that means the other person, that's the applicant. So that means the respondent, the one that's being basically convicted in civil court, doesn't even have an opportunity to say what they want to say. And, of course, when they do get a chance to get before the court, they're the bad guy. They're the bad guy. They're the evildoer. They don't give them a chance to actually tell the truth. Well, that's it, guys. I love each and every one of you, truly and deeply I do. Man, this one's going to be a long one. I apologize. Carpe diem. Catch you on the flip side.